One of you, I don't know if it was Duncan or Ian, sent over an interesting article that I wanted to talk a little bit about. Um, it was talking a little bit about AI and how AI has really started to find its way into agencies like ours. So, despite predictions from people like Sam Altman, who's the OpenAI CEO, he's talking about how AI will largely replace traditional marketing agency functions. A lot of creative directors disagree. Now, we're in an agency, we don't have a creative director, we're a digital agency primarily focused in like the execution of campaigns, not so much the creative side of campaigns, although we do a little bit. But these creative directors all kind of came out and said that AI isn't a threat, but it's kind of this powerful tool that they can use to fuel a creative boom because now people have the ability to maybe do things that they couldn't do before, bring things to life that maybe they couldn't do before when it comes to advertising or other creative. So while AI kind of presents this challenge to traditional like billing models or even how new people are coming into agencies, the kind of work that they're doing, agencies are adapting by focusing on output-based pricing and expanding services into areas like hyper personalization, content optimization, all sorts of interesting things that frankly we couldn't really do before because we didn't have the tools. So a couple questions here. Overall, and you've both been here, Duncan's been here since the beginning, and Ian's been here for a while too. How do you think our agency has changed with AI? Like, what would you say would be the biggest change that you've seen now that in the past couple of years, all these new tools have been available and all these new ways of doing things have been available?
Productivity.
Yeah, that's mine. That's
I think the biggest change is just how much can get done. I think for I mean me personally, because I probably fiddle with this the most. I think um, how much I can get done is the big part of it, but also things like record keeping, um, tracking of tasks, of media spends, of a lot of different things. Just becomes easier, more fluid. So it allows me to kind of focus on other things. Even reporting has gotten easier through AI by training an AI on kind of the things and the ways that we want it to speak. Um, so I can get a lot more done in a day, which does increase capacity, but it obviously comes with drawbacks because things break and you have to go and fix them. Or um, yeah, I mean, realistically for me, it's productivity. It's just increased level of output um, and better use of the inputs that we have so that more things can happen with them is probably the best way to
yeah.
describe it.
Ian, how about you?
Excuse me. No, I totally agree with what Duncan's saying. I think the article that we're talking about, I definitely agree with the people who responded in that I don't think it'll make agencies obsolete. It just makes, they can do more with less now. So they can either win bigger contracts, put out bigger campaigns, and have that ideation process much, much quicker as well. Um, so yeah, I agree. I think most people will still rely on their advertising agencies to actually use a lot of these tools. Um, in the short term, I guess people might think, oh, I can do this myself now, but it won't take too long before they perhaps realize that the output of direct from the AI isn't necessarily what they're after, and yeah, like Duncan said, it means that we can do much more
Yeah,
in a day.
yeah.
So
I still think
yeah,
you'll need those
that's
humans
what.
always kind of overseeing everything and putting the correct prompts and putting all the pieces together basically. I still think that's going to be a big
Yeah,
part of it. But yeah, just all those little tasks that would take you a long time, being able to streamline those. Or if you have like you're stuck in your head, you can't come up with how should I start this paragraph or this sentence or things like that. It's like a cheat code. Like you can kind of pass those little mental breaks that you're having and continue your work. So um, it's been really, really interesting to see not just agencies, but I've got a family that are teachers. They use it regularly. Like, oh, we had to summarize this thing for my students, and I only had 10 minutes to do it, and I could just do it. Like, it's all those little things. They still teach kids, but they just have more tools at their disposal to do that. So, yeah, it's very interesting.
I will say though, I feel like it's prudent to say this. Like the change that you would end up seeing in agencies is that normally we would have to hire someone to do those things, to do those small menial tasks. So what is likely happening, and I think we're kind of seeing this in the job market these days, is that those entry level positions just no longer are existing. Because like you don't you don't need an entry level person to give you a framework for a strategy. ChatGPT can do that in a minute. So what you end up seeing, and I think this is really coming to fruition right now, is that a lot of the young people coming out of school are struggling to find jobs because they have no experience. They can't produce final products, and it's no different than ChatGPT. ChatGPT doesn't really produce a final product, but it does give you the framework to kind of move forward with it to finish and finalize things. So while it may not affect agencies directly, it's going to make it so that you know, to work at an agency, to get in the door at an agency, is likely going to have a higher bar. Would be the way that I would look at it. I'd also recognize that creative agencies absolutely can use AI for a lot of ideation, but I still find like the final products that AI comes with or comes up with still kind of looks like AI. And the more you play with it, the more you can kind of spot it. So from the copywriting standpoint, there's certain clues that it's written by AI. From production side of things, that's still very much going to require the human touch. So, like I say, I think where you're going to see it mostly is not that it's directly affecting agencies that are already established. It's just that they won't be hiring those entry level positions anymore because there's no
Yeah.
need for them.
Like I don't ever see a time where our agency will be double its size. Like I just don't see that. I don't know why it would be. Like you can run with a smaller team of very talented people with the help of these tools, and your outputs are increasing. Yeah, you just don't need those extra people around. So whether younger people getting into the game now are very specialized in like a certain creative field, or understanding AI and being able to write prompts, or using that to looking at data and then figuring out what it actually means when these reports get spit out. I think there's still entry points in for younger people, but I think just coming out and being I've got a marketing degree, it's like, okay, but what's kind of your specialization or your kind of niche that you can play into? So it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening. I guess this is one benefit to being old, huh, guys? Like we're not old, we're established.
Well, I mean, in my head, I'm like, the generation before us didn't grow up with the internet, so they're not very good with it. We grew up with the internet, so we know how to use it. And I'm hoping that this next generation is going to be growing up with AI, so they know how to use it. Because I think that's what you're probably going to end up seeing. It's just a generational shift of how we leverage and use the internet. And I'd be curious if this generation recognizes this shift and takes action from it.
Yeah.
And the problem is like there's not schooling about this stuff. Like
No,
you can't go to school necessarily for automations. You can go to school for machine learning, which I think could still be valuable. But a lot of these courses out there right now for these automations are completely free. So I think you take advantage while you can and try to learn and gain some skills in this area, see what they can do, and then start thinking about how these automations can potentially help businesses simplify their processes, better record keeping, all of that. And that's what's probably going to get you in the door of a lot of these agencies. Is not just that you have a marketing background, is that you also have an understanding of what marketing agencies are currently using.
Yeah, I think that's an important point, Duncan. You're talking about automations and things like that. And I think that for someone to get in the door, an understanding of agentic AI is a good thing, where you have like different agents and one AI is telling another AI what to do and things. And I know, Duncan, that that's something that you've been toying around with a number of these automation tools. But I do think that's the next big step. And I think a lot of people are talking about artificial general intelligence, where there's an AI that's as smart as a human in all fields. And I think what's going to get us to that sooner is actually lots and lots of narrow field AIs, but with one manager who knows exactly which one to go to for a specific task. So to the end user, it's going to feel like the AI knows a lot more than it does, but it just has that one role of, okay, here's the input. Which AI do I go to get an output for that's appropriate for what the person asked? And if someone were to come to an agency with an understanding of that and knowing how to build these agents and automations, I think that would certainly be beneficial for a lot of organizations.
Agreed. Well, there you go, kids. Any kids watching out there, you want to be in marketing, listen to the two guys I'm talking to. They're smarter than I am. Listen to what they said. Do that. And one day, if you do, you might be king of the drip yourself. It comes with a lot of hard work to get this crown. You don't just show up on a podcast, pick a couple memes, and then hope people vote the right way. No, that's not how it works. That's years of experience.